recommendations on our pipe.
Okay.
My recommendation is to award B block to Poly and metal culverts, the corrugated metal.
Okay, and that's based upon low bid.
Low price.
Okay. All right, so I'll actually entertain those in two different votes then. First, I would entertain a motion to accept the bid from Metal Culverts for the galvanized pipe per low bid per recommendation for Road and Bridge.
Well, give me just a moment, please.
Yeah, because we didn't have time to review really, just a quick glance over when we tabled that earlier, so that's why I was like
Okay,
a little bit of looking as well.
You can take all the time you want there. Mike will be happy to help you.
That in comparison to this, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, this one's just a little bit hard to read. Okay. And what kind of window did they give us on this one? And was their price going to be subject to changes as well throughout the year?
So once this is awarded, we're gonna try to get our order
You're gonna
hammered
get it,
out by the
okay.
end of the week,
All right.
first part of next week, and get it out.
Okay.
And we do our whole order all at once,
Okay.
based on jobs that are laying there waiting and our expectations of what we will need.
Yeah. There seems to be a significant difference
Yeah,
on
that
some of
is-
this stuff. So
Yeah.
After my review, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to accept Mike's recommendation, metal culverts for the bid on the pipe.
I'll second
Galvanized.
it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the bid for metal culverts for galvanized pipe. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Bid approved. Next, we had the recommendation, and I believe the only bid,
Could you sign off the metal culverts?
On one piece of paper,
Yeah, pick one.
Joe.
Well, I'd like to keep a copy as well, so if you can get me another copy back. So I've already scratched on mine
I have
anyway.
not scratched on mine.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
just
say,
need
and that's the
initials?
original anyway. You've got the original. Isn't that the original? Yeah, it's folded up.
Yeah.
That's the original bid anyway, so.
okay. Next was the recommendation, the bid from B-Brock on the polypropylene pipe. I would entertain a motion to approve that bid.
Would make the motion to go ahead and go with B-Brock on the polypropylene pipe.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Mike,
Not yet.
thank you.
No, just leave that.
Okay.
Hold on the rebar.
All right, next, I'll jump from 4 to 5. Steve, you had some information that you wanted to present to us regarding grants.
Yep. First of all, there is radio grants available, and I understand that I need to get permission before I start searching grants. There is one possibly out there for computers, and then there is the RX Destroyer has a grant process. So I'm kind of asking for all three, but I would start with the radio grant if I can. These are 100%, no match, so there would be no cost to the county.
So, Steve, through what's the source of the grant? Who does that?
It's through the federal government. It's distributed through public safety in the state
Okay.
of Missouri.
So somewhat not intimately familiar with that, but had some heads up that that was coming down the road here. So let me ask you, is that for what type of radios for your office in
It's
particular?
for the P25 radios.
Okay,
And it'd be for handhelds, mobiles. It covers handhelds, mobiles, repeater. I mean, there's a vast variety that they are. I would be looking at mobiles and portables.
okay. What I'd like you to consider would be coordinating with the sheriff's office In the thought process of does one county, does one municipality qualify to submit one bid? And if so, would we want to have one bid submitted on behalf of Laclede County? Or would it be just the opportunity maybe for the coroner's office, in addition, maybe the sheriff's office, OEM, whatever that might look like, even 911 perhaps. So I would task you, if you'd be willing to do it, to get with those other departments and just see if there's an opportunity to submit one bid, if that fits the parameters of the program.
From what I've seen in grants in the past, if we could submit them as a whole, it would be better than it would
Yeah,
a bunch
piecemeal.
of different,
Yes.
piecemeal.
So it sounds
I
like you'd
will-
be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will check with them.
Okay.
I'm just kind of at the point, where do I go? Do I need, so if I can go to the sheriff's department, if that's something we can do, an OEM, and I'll get with 911 and visit with that and see if we can maybe coordinate that all together. So you guys would be receptive to that one.
Can't see any reason why we wouldn't, Steve.
Okay, all right. And then with this, when I talked to the Motorola, because that was the initial email I got was from Motorola. Of course, when radios do it, it's all of them, Motorola, Kenwood, all the companies do that. Motorola said that there was attached to that grant was a possibility of doing some computers, and I'm not talking about office computers, I'm talking about like a tough book like the sheriff's office uses in their vehicles. So same thing, I would ask if that was something we could coordinate together, that would be, and as far as I know, I haven't seen the paperwork on it, but if it was no cost to the county, would you guys be, if there was a cost, I would come back and ask, but as far as I know.
So let me add, and again, I can't see a reason why we wouldn't, based upon what your findings are. But to add to that, we have, I believe, 10, maybe 10 units in the sheriff's department, 8 or 10, that will no longer be supported by Microsoft, if that's applicable to the units they have in their vehicles. So there would be 10 notebooks in the sheriff's office that will need to be upgraded if possible, but more than likely they're going to have to be replaced. So bear that in mind as you pursue that, because that's going to be substantial cost for the sheriff's department to have those updated, and that has to be done by October. So that may tie into your research as to why this is taking place this year, to get some of those updated.
Maybe something we can work with them and get computers, or maybe if, I don't know, with Microsoft not supporting them, if it would be beneficial for those to come to my office.
So yes, because which you're probably familiar with, Microsoft is no longer going to support Windows 10. So we're replacing a number of computers here in the courthouse, and the ones that are upgradable, we're upgrading between now and October. So again, I think some coordination there would be helpful.
Well, I'm working very well with the new sheriff, so we will have conversations and see. And I don't know if if we might be able to upgrade them, and they would work for us as upgradable, where the area that they're using before, they may not be able to be upgraded because of the programs they're running. There may not be enough. So, but I will have a conversation with them on that. And then the RX Destroyer, that company actually put me on to a possible grant. Can I pursue that one?
let's talk about that for just a second. And again, I don't know that I would ever hesitate researching a grant up to the point of the cost that the county might incur, the initial cost, but more importantly, if there's any ongoing costs. So we're approved for a grant, it's good for a year, but we've got to keep it for 2 years. So I'll always have to have that caveat, if you will, that on a case-by-case basis. Now, there was discussion at our last meeting, and I think you and I had a conversation, Erik had a conversation, the statutes regarding the take back, if you will, of the drugs. Has that been
He's
resolved?
brought some papers over this morning. I haven't really looked through the whole thing yet.
Okay.
Yeah, he's brought me some information.
Okay. And then I printed out, because I wasn't sure what you were going to present this morning, but I did print out the list of eligible items or uses for opioid remediation.
Yes.
I don't know if you have that, Steve, but I made that copy for you.
Okay.
And that might be another source that you might look into as well.
I look at anything that we have a possibility of furthering our department and helping the citizens out in the county.
Okay.
Besides the grants, the only other thing I have is I talked to Melinda Freeze at LAF. After our conversations we've had here, I've actually had some citizens come forward. They would like to help, ask me how. I know the Sheriff's Department has a pass-through deal that they had presented. I talked to Melinda. She offered me the same thing. You know, like investigative kits, people could donate money specifically for that. She printed off the paperwork and said I needed to come before the commission, and I need at least 2 out of 3 people to approve that. It would work just like the Sheriff's Department. So I would be asking that we set up just like the Sheriff's Department has.
We can have some discussion on that. Previously, OEM had requested the same, that they could set up a fund. The commission did not approve that. That I think was a different commission than this one. But it's something that can be considered. But I think the commission needs to have a discussion before we take any action on that.
So I may need a little bit of background at the Sheriff's Department.
Basically, if you wanted to donate, say they done it for, I think, a dog, for a drug dog, you come forward and say, hey, I want to give some money, instead of coming to the county and just giving it to it, and then the county deciding on where that money actually gets spent. You go to LAF and say, I want to donate $100, $5,000, $1 million, whatever. You get, because it's a foundation, you get a receipt so you can take it off your taxes. You donate the money to LAF, they take 2% of whatever you donate, and then the rest of that money comes in to be earmarked for whatever you say it to be earmarked. I know, like the Sheriff's Department used it for a drug dog, so I don't know what those dogs cost. I'm sure there was thousands of dollars, probably $25,000, $50,000. I don't know, but somebody they done that. So
this is kind of like a GoFundMe page.
No.
A little bit.
They're set up for specific expenses.
yeah,
It's line
specific
item.
expenses. Yeah. So if somebody said, I understand you need an investigative kit, and the investigative kit costs $300, they could go to LAF and say, hey, I want to donate to the coroner's office for this investigative kit. Here's $300, $400. Then it would come in, and then that would be specifically earmarked to buy that investigative kit, is what it would be used for.
So in any account, the commission has to approve expenditures. So LAF was a tool in order that, exactly what's been said, But because it's county funds and it's a county liability and it's a county expense, it still has to have the county oversight. So when the sheriff came and asked to set up for a canine and have those donated funds pushed towards that, that's all it can be spent on. And the commission gave approval for a canine project to be set up. So to have a generic whatever happens is not, because liability is still incurred on behalf of the county. But it can be set up specifically if the commission desires to have it set up for a specific project to be funded, if that were the case.
Okay, so I'm gonna give some initial thoughts on my somewhat uneducated mind on how all of this works. I don't have a problem with private citizens donating towards a perceived need for an office or somebody, an office, or we'll just use yours for an example, the coroner's office. But along with what Randy said a moment ago, you know, we also have to be mindful of future costs associated with that. But I don't, with that in mind, I mean, I don't have a problem with that process. So let's pick on the, and I'm just using this as an example, the RX destroyer. What kind of other costs are associated with that?
There's no other cost associated with that.
No monthly subscription, nothing you have to do with whatever is destroyed and the material that's left out of it?
No, once it goes into that process, those are rendered to the point you can throw them in the trash can. They're no longer. Here would be an example, like the computer program I wanted. There's initial setup, then there's a yearly fee. I would never ask for that, because then that would be binding you guys to a yearly fee, and I would not see that being. But like a investigative kit, one-time purchase, there's no monthly fee, there's no recurring fees out of that. So it would be basically for something that would not generate some kind of deal afterwards. So.
Okay.
I would like to entertain further discussion, give you time to think about it.
Yeah.
And,
It'd be something I'd like to look into, you know.
And Melinda said if you guys wanted to visit with
Oh,
her
always,
too,
yeah.
she would be glad to come to a meeting. So.
Oh, and I'm sure, I mean, she's a good source,
Yep.
you know, to reach out to.
Yep.
So, you bet.
Steve, do you have anything else for us?
Nope.
Okay, any other questions for Steve? Okay,
But I have.
I'll get busy on this stuff. Thank you.
thanks,
Yeah,
Steve.
thanks, Steve.
Let's back up to the transfer title, the surplus equipment, the OEM trailer. We had discussion, I believe, last week in regards to Nebo Falcon Rural Fire Department, that they would be a candidate to receive that. Any thoughts before we take that up as an action item?
I believe it's be a good deal there, be a good use of it.
I agree.
Okay. All right, so we have title on that. They've not made I don't know that they need to make a written request, but we would need to make some type of probably disposition on paper, you know, that we're transferring that title, I'm guessing. And then my only request would be before it's moved or shortly after it's moved, that the existing lettering is removed. And I wouldn't want that to be like 6 months from now or 9 months from now or 2 years from now.
No, that's a
I
2 week,
would-
10-day period.
So spoke to him specifically about that. And he said if he was awarded the trailer, that before anything, that's the first place it's going, is to maybe Young Signs or whoever can take care of getting all of that off there. So that's already in his thought process. And we could even take it as far as you get that trailer over there, and when we see the signs off, here you go.
Okay. If they're tight on money, if they get a hot hair dryer.
Yes, but I
You
don't
can-
think that's what's going through his mind.
Okay.
But,
Okay, I'm just.
and this was going
in
to
case
be
money-
labor
at
expense?
his expense.
Now, with that being said, on that trailer and stuff, I mean, the equipment and stuff that's in that trailer, how much of that is still going to be pulled out there for OEM and everything, and or what's going to be left in there for Nebo Falcon Fire?
So I think, Joe, what we should do is visually inspect, take an inventory by serial number by model number and serial number on those radios. The discussion I've had with OEM, those radios are analog radios that can be used for their purposes in that part of the county. He indicated they would probably work on a repeater there. And that I believe they were purchased or donated somehow or acquired through maybe FEMA. Don't quote me on that, but perhaps FEMA. And the timeline to be able to dispose of has now passed. But I would still take an inventory, and I think probably one of us could help Randy with that.
You bet. Yeah, I like that recommendation. So,
Did you say the time has passed to where they could be disposed of if necessary?
That's what has been communicated to me.
So disposal can sometimes relate to how long do you have to have possession of it before you can relinquish it on to someone else, not necessarily
Right.
trash, but move it on. Agreement of you have to keep it 3 years or 5 years or whatever, and that time has passed, so now it can be let out to other people for use.
just roll over in ownership, basically.
And have those radios ever been in part of our inventory, or?
I would know that.
I'm sure they have been. And to Linda's point, Leanna has an annual inventory that is gathered for our review. Okay. And last year before, we did a pretty extensive review of the communications equipment, and I have that file somewhere in my file cabinet. So between Leanna and that list that I was given, I think we can determine that.
Okay, and is this so we can get those radios off of our inventory? We're not doing this because we're gonna ask for those radios back 5 to 10 years from now. Okay.
No. I think what we're obviously confronted with is just the advances in technology, whether it's our internet, whether it's our radios, whatever that might be, and I would bet if things continue on the path that they're on, a lot of radios, terrestrial radios, relying on towers as we know them, are going to take a backseat to being Starlink based or similar.
I'm good with the whole thing.
Okay. I think I would entertain a motion to make that title transfer conditioned upon us getting the radios inventoried and the
Signage off of.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to transfer title to Nebo Falcon Volunteer Fire Department.
Linda, I bet you could get us something written up, couldn't you? That we could get both parties to
After
sign.
we get the radios inventoried and the signage is taken off.
Very good. Do you have a second?
You bet. Second.
We have motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, so we'll see if we can't get that done the next couple of weeks then.
Yeah.
Right, give Linda time to get it written up, get them in here to sign off on it. The title will sign off on it. Okay.
Do you have a problem if they can, picking up the trailer and taking it to whoever they're gonna take it to get the signs on?
Once that release is signed, so we can get it off our insurance, and that they pick it up on their insurance, and I don't think I'd have a problem. I would hesitate if they picked it up before that transfer actually took place. I don't think that's what you were asking, but
Yes and no.
but just to make
Yeah.
sure that that's still on our insurance policy, and I would like that transfer to be done before we release that to them
Okay.
or any third party.
And that inventory of those radios and stuff as well, I think would be sufficient to have that done as well at that same time prior. And then pulling it out, because at that point, that's done, it's pretty much theirs. There's no need for it to come back, no need for us to chase it. So we need to have that done, I believe, as well.
I will take that upon myself to get that done in the next 2 or 3 or 4 working days.
How many
Thank you.
radios are in there?
I don't know, Eric. Yeah. Half a dozen, 8, 10.
I was thinking 10 to 12 is what I was thinking, but I haven't seen that in the front of that trailer.
Do we know if Randy has all the stuff that he wanted out of it yet?
It's my understanding, yes.
All right. And are you actually going to transfer the title to him before the signage comes off? Is that what I'm kind of hearing? And we're just going to hope that he takes it straight over there and gets that off there?
I don't have any objection on their word
And I don't either.
that,
Right.
that
I'm
they
just
would do
asking.
that. But
You're
I
gonna
would
have
be
that signed
sorely
verbiage.
disappointed if 6 months from now, that's not done. And we seem to have a little bit of trouble getting invoices and paperwork from them. I know they're busy, that's a volunteer, and so I don't want to,
Right.
make it oppressive for them, but I think it also should be stressed that it needs to be taken care of.
And that verbiage that Miss Linda's gonna try to write up for us, that would be in there as well.
Now, the flip
You would-
side of that
yeah.
is I don't want it back if they don't, okay?
Well,
I do.
things can be done.
No.
Things can be done. You bet.
Okay, we are now at the point of general county business.
I'm good.
Nope, I think most everything's been taken care of pretty
I
much
think so.
along the way.
Yep.
Everything that I had to bring up was handled by the department heads pretty much
Okay.
at their time, so.
All right, then I would mention that we have a South Central County Commissioner Association meeting on Friday the 14th. Our dues are due and payable. They're $60. And if there's intentions of us going, and I would like to go, I've been there in the past, and I think they're relatively informative meetings. But it's March 14th at the Texas County Justice Center in Houston. Meeting begins at 10. We'd have to leave here by probably, not much after 8:30, depending on whether Grandpa drives or somebody else drives.
8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? Is that what you're saying?
Those are easier for a
I would like to request that potentially the two of you meet me at my store.
Look at this thrifty Chinsey sucker.
Not a
Yeah.
problem. So
Okay.
Yeah. So leave here at 8:15.
I would think so. We'll
Okay.
grab a cup of coffee at the store on B Highway, and maybe get us some bread or something to eat on the way. So if
I like how that was us parked on that.
I would like to discuss on whether or not Grandpa is driving, or if potentially if I'm driving, or what we're driving.
You know,
Grandpa can drive to the
right
farmer's
now-
market.
right now, I think we're leaving early enough that Grandpa would like to drive.
Okay, all right.
Uh,
He isn't gonna let me drive.
No, he's
You
not
can
letting
put
you
that in
drive.
there if you want.
And so I'll get this invoice for processing. It's $60, and I'll let them know that we have 3 coming, and I'll have Leanna to get it posted for us.
You bet. Yep.
All right. In addition to the payroll forms, any questions on warrants? I don't think we had a whole lot of those.
No,
I had
we're good.
one
Simple.
maybe. And then Mike has presented SB 190/756 applications. Looks like through March 4th, there's another 109, an additional 119. So I would entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve the extra 119 additional applications there to go as they are.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Yeah, motion second to approve those applications. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Why don't we initial that
Yeah.
top one? And then I'd like to open it up just for a brief discussion with a follow-up discussion on what we learned at CCAM regarding some changes or additions on this. So a couple of things that we learned there that I think we need to discuss. I'm just going to put it out there for thoughts and no action at the moment, but we'll need to meet again, more than likely with Julie and maybe her programmer, and maybe with the programmer for the collector, as to how this might look and what the process moving forward. And what it's in reference to is we have somebody that was approved last year. Their taxes are frozen at that amount. Now with Senate Bill 756, it clarifies that any additions, and they use the word improvement. I think that needs to be part of our discussion as well. But for this conversation, I'm just going to use the word additions, then would have to be taken into consideration as to how that works in conjunction with the already frozen amount. I'm a strong proponent that we leave the frozen amount frozen, and the additional would be picked up, but it would not trigger a reset, which would then be a forfeit of the amount that's been frozen. That was presented by MAC Legal Counsel. I had a separate conversation out in the hallway afterward just for clarification, and that's going to be my recommendation, that we find a way to do that. Now, that may be easier to say than it will be to get done. I've had another conversation with another county that their assessor has found the way to do it. And I had a conversation with our assessor in the hallway yesterday, and she actually had an idea there within their existing programmer. So that's one part of that. Okay. Any objection to pursuing that?
Oh, I don't see any. I agree with that as far as holding that towards already frozen at, and then with the addition be added on from there.
So
Erik, you have thoughts?
I do. So, and you may have to help me with this scenario.
Okay.
We're frozen on a house.
Okay.
They do an addition.
My house is frozen,
Yep.
and I've had that 2-car garage.
Okay.
This remains frozen.
Yep.
This has to be picked up.
Yep.
It can't be frozen retroactively with this, so that increase has to be picked up. But this part remains frozen. This part becomes an addition to that.
And you're saying that cannot be frozen at the year that it's brought into the system? Or is that
then,
not the homestead or part of it? Is that attached, detached? I mean, what the?
it wouldn't make any,
That doesn't make any
difference.
Okay.
This part would remain frozen.
Let's say 2024.
Yeah.
Okay. 2026.
Okay.
So what happens with that in 2027?
That part would be frozen as well.
At that
At
assessed
2026.
value.
At the 26.
Assessed value.
Yeah.
At the time of, yes, correct,
Okay.
from erection.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Okay.
And she's saying she's got software that they believe can do that.
She had alluded to the existing software has some provision regarding the circuit breaker.
Okay, yeah.
That you can put different check marks. And she was going to get with her programmer to see if that
could be
would work.
applicable.
And
Interesting.
then the other part is, how does that flow into the tax statements that are mailed out? What's that going to look like? So this is a discussion we have to have pretty soon. So I would probably set up a work study session for that, probably maybe that Thursday that that we're going to move that meeting, so we're not going to have a meeting on the 18th. Is that right?
That's correct.
And maybe Thursday, if we have a short regular meeting, or maybe a regular meeting, and then a work study after that. And then I think Julie also wanted to have a work study, maybe in reference to what that BOE format looks like, to help educate us.
Well, I think Julie is the main key for this whole.
I think the
thing.
commission is the main key, because without our directive, then
But I think we need to lean on her to tell us what we.
absolutely.
What can or can't be done.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to do with that. What
Yes.
it's going to incur.
So just as a note, election judge training is that week.
That
So-
same week. Okay. Well,
I worked around the Tuesday, but I don't have a workaround. for
okay.
Thursdays.
So maybe what we could do is the week after that.
Totally free.
Okay. So the week of the 22nd, 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there. Okay. That's what I'll try and that's what I will make happen if I get Julie and okay. All right. Public comments, items listed on the agenda.
What is CCAM?
County Commissioners Association of Missouri. And that's a mandatory, that's an association that our commission belongs to. It's part of Missouri Association of Counties. And we're required to attend 20 hours of annual training. And we did that last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
What she said, so we will not be able to do that.
We use a lot of acronyms, don't we?
It's part of the fun.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And speaking of trainings for you guys, so to Erik and Joe, copies of your training certificate, have you got that or have you already turned it over?
Yeah, I was told that I need to, no, I'll see if I can push a button, and then come to find out somebody got a button pushed for them.
Okay, good.
So,
Well,
you
the
know,
thing
redheaded
is
stepchild.
if you guys,
Are we talking about me?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, no, I didn't.
we do need a copy of your training certificate.
He's got,
You got my training.
somebody has
certificate.
already
You have
turned his
You need
in.
them? I turn them into Christie.
I was gonna say, she lets me know if somebody doesn't, so
Okay.
the effect is.
And I've
is if
tried
you
to
don't go
turn mine
training,
in
your
3
pay gets
times
cut.
to Christie, and she's not been in her office. So,
Tape it to her door.
good. I didn't think about that.
No, then somebody else might steal it. You're never gonna know.
Well, he will when his pay gets cut.
May take a month for us to realize it.
I'll turn it into Miss Linda. Let Miss Linda take it to Miss Christie. At least then I've got witness.
March 20th. Joe's bringing something up about March 20th. Are we having a meeting that day or not?
Yes.
Yes, but
Okay.
we're not doing the after work studies because you've got training that week,
I'd like to
correct?
be here with Julie when you're discussing that one. if
Okay.
the
That's
case
what I
is.
was saying.
All right.
Somebody
was
else will
saying-
sit in. and
He
take
was saying
minutes if you have
23rd, which is
So
Sunday.
So why don't we stay tuned for that week? If there's nothing urgent comes in, then we may not even have a meeting that week. In light of what we just learned about
Yes.
judges training.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but then we may have 2 meetings the following week. We may have a regular meeting on Tuesday and then a work
I
study.
like the May better than shall.
Yeah.
So there's always
There's
possibility
always a
something,
possibility of shall.
something will come up. Okay, public comments, items not listed on the agenda. Okay. Gentlemen, anything else?
Not for me at this time.
Okay, all right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, we stand adjourned.